Hi, this is Paula Gloria, and this show is called Farther Down the Rabbit Hole. You can respond to anything that you hear on this show at rabbitholecentral.tv. I'm going to try to set up sort of an interactive thing, and hopefully we'll be able to have that same kind of richness of experience that we had when I had my weekly live call-in shows. And in particular, I brought some provocative topics to New York. And today's topic is going to be, don't sacrifice your firstborn at the altar of global warming. And furthermore, I also want to say, Howard, I've owed you one for a long time. So let's take all of this in order. A long time ago, I did a show that I called my ex, CIA agent Steele. And I referred to a man at a hackers conference who was pretending to be an ex-CIA agent, but who I felt, according to how he responded to certain questions about 9/11 and how the World Trade Center buildings were destroyed, that he wasn't ex. So I went through that show, and I definitely was guilty of violent communication. So afterwards I felt guilty, and I did 3 more shows where I critiqued myself, exposing him, showing how if I used nonviolent communication techniques, I could have had better connections of empathy, and I could have been more successful in getting my needs met. In this case, it was a need for more information and more knowledge. And so what I said in those follow-up ones was that both Robert Steele and I were human beings, and as human beings, we all have the same needs, and we all have the same concerns. We may have different strategies for meeting those needs. Say, for example, a need for security. Given that he has the occupation that he does, he may feel more secure when people don't have all the knowledge, feeling that people are not ready for it, they're not mature enough for it. Now, along these lines of readiness and maturity, so then I went on that show and I said that we all had the same needs, Robert and I did, and for example, we had a same need for security based on certain fears, and all human beings have a great fear of death. So whether you're working for the CIA or you're, a good-hearted liberal that's going out and protesting against the wars, at the end of the day, at the end of a lifetime, you look back and you see how much you've accomplished, and you really find that the different strategies don't make that much difference, but that it has to do with bringing out a soul experience, enriching the soul through participating in all this density and the kinds of challenges that this realm of density brings. The allure of wealth, the ability to overcome that feeling of victimization when you don't have the wealth and you're sort of playing hide and seek with the greatness of your spiritual being, because everybody is a huge, powerful spiritual being, and they're constantly manifesting. And in this area of manifestation, I get into the area of Tantra. Yantra and mantra creates Tantra. But before I go into that, and I will because that's part of the roll-in, I want to say that it's also an adage, judge not, lest ye be judged. And I most assuredly was judging Howard Stern because it was a little bit stressful to get those crank calls. And, I rolled with it as best I could. I lost my friendship with Genevieve for about 6 months or maybe even longer because she said, you just got to dump these negative calls. You're bringing in too much negativity. But when I looked back on it, as I started to get more involved with trying to make manifestation, spirituality more relevant, I found that those crank calls were calling to my attention, something that I needed to take a look at, which was how to make better connections of empathy, make better connections with people. And humor is is valuable. Sometimes when I was feeling in despair, you know, we're on the brink of nuclear war, and there's all this problem with anti-Semitism and misunderstanding of what Judaism is and Zionism. As my friend Molly said, I would get too earnest and a little bit too serious. So in that mode of being too serious, I would be frustrated and feeling that Howard Stern's Cackle Brigade was sort of diffusing focus where we needed to have focus. But I want to say, when I went back to California, and I never heard any of Howard Stern's shows. I mean, I've just been, you know, kind of on a different planet for a while, and then I was for 4 years in India, and I think in that time he moved over to satellite. Well, I've gotten interested in satellites recently because of the advanced weaponry that was probably involved with bringing the World Trade Center down. And even Webster Tarpley, who walks quite a middle line, you know, you don't get on Hannity and Combs on Fox News unless you're very savvy. I'm not very savvy. I just follow my heart. But in any case, Webster was talking about how the Chinese was able to destroy one of their satellites. So he said it could have been done in a number of ways. One of 2 ways, he said, was to take another satellite, launch it, and have that satellite explode next to it, and then the satellite would go down. And another would be with lasers. Now, lasers, I thought, my God, if you could bring a satellite down, you know, that's orbiting around the Earth and it's so far away, well, what's the big deal, and why is there such a stigma, and why are people so denigrated in the 9/11 truth movement if you suggest that advanced weaponry or energy beams was used in the World Trade Center? So in any case, I'm just saying, I think Howard Stern should pay attention, because all satellites do not seem to be invulnerable. But I'm banking on connections of empathy, and that is whether people are rich or poor, they're the oligarchy, they were the ones behind the scenes, they owned stock in the advanced weapons companies, or whether they were the victims. The important thing is that we all be able to connect and move together better as a humanity. And so when my sister started to point out to me that Howard Stern at the beginning used to do some really great interviews, and if I'm not mistaken, I think she said that he had even interviewed Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Now, he taught transcendental meditation, and he was my first significant teacher. So that was something I participated in for a long time. And my 4 years in India had to do with meeting a young miracle master with a lot of firepower, who said it was time to learn about the Divine Mother, the 5 elements, and how to understand how Jesus actually did the miracles. So what I want to show here is, this is a yantra, and you don't usually see the swastika even embedded as it is here in the Greek key. But this is something that I did in California, my recent trip. So let's take a look.
Let's go.
Let's see if you can guess where this is. He said head out now. Traffic.
Like you said.
Huh? That was at the J. Paul Getty. That was at the J. Paul Getty Museum in Los Angeles. And so I've also shown the little swastikas around Gramercy Park to show that pre-Hitler, before all that started, that this was just another shape. And somebody recently told me, I think it was Deepak Chopra's publicity person, that there's a movie, Little Maisley or something, and I'm going to go see it because she insists that it has yantras in it. And she said that Deepak Chopra said that the swastika in India is okay because it's reversed from how Hitler had it. Well, that's absolutely not so, and I'm always wishing that people would double check things, because when people in authority say it, you think, oh, well, that's how it is, you know, Hitler turned it around. Well, believe me, ladies and gentlemen, if you check it out, Hitler had the swastika in the same direction that you see all over India. The only time I didn't see the swastika in the direction that Hitler had it was at the Theosophical Society, and that was in Madras or Chennai in the south. And what it means is it's the cross of transmutation. So if you sort of imagine a cross that's spinning, it's got fire on it, and the fire shows the direction. So, you know, work it out for yourself, and log on to rabbitholecentral.tv any noon Manhattan time, and let's have a discussion about that, because it's worthwhile. Now, let's get back to this thing about don't sacrifice your firstborn at the altar of global warming. I brought the internet skeptic to New York, and the internet skeptic was talking about the false science behind global warming. And this is something that has become a religion. It's not a science. And it's very hard to get people to connect with evidence and not be extraordinarily emotional in order to... That's my brother again. Oh, you might as well look into this. This is his wheatgrass, because he was having prostate cancer, and he went down to Hippocrates to learn about an alternate diet, and he did very well with it, incidentally. But again, I think this is something that we need to do a lot more study on, because I've discovered more about raw milk, and I think that there is rather a cover-up about the power of the cow and what vaccinations really mean. So even alternate medicine, and here I'll flip over to my brother here. Alternate medicine is also, in the same way that false flag terrorism reinforces the official story. When you go on a very austere diet, there he is drying his walnuts. That can also be distracting us from what is really causing problems to our health. So that's something I hope to go into more in the future. But in any case, I just want to say I do apologize to Howard Stern, and yesterday was the first time that I saw on YouTube how Howard Stern was doing, I think, what they call the punking. So let's see if I can bring that up and see what you think about this. We had Easter eggs, because that's what they give you. Oh, I see we have a call. Let's see. Hello? Caller? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Hi.
Great.
How are you, Paula?
Good. Who is this? Do I know you?
This is Rusty.
Rusty, what are you up to today?
Oh, I heard you talking about going to India.
Yes, I met Jennifer in India. She's going to be calling in later from Washington, D.C.
Oh, my goodness. I actually went to India last year.
Well, why don't you call later, and maybe we can get you and her on at the same time?
Well, I just wanted to tell you real quick, India it's kind of a scary country. I was shitting blood for a week after I got back.
I'm sure Jennifer will have something to say about that, too.
Yeah, well, I'd like to know if she was shitting blood, too, because I don't think I want to go back.
It's true. You know, when we want to be balancing the elements, it's really important, and sometimes the energies get high. So call in later, okay?
Well, my energy's...
So, anyway, let's roll in with Jennifer, and we'll take more calls later.
Jennifer.
Later. We'll take more calls.
You're supposed to know all her friends.
It sounds like she only expects to get calls from people she knows.
Yeah, because the guy goes, hi. You know, Richard goes, hi. And she goes, do I...
Hey, you guys, you were like ever so right. I was only expecting to get calls from people that I know, because I called this show Farther Down the Rabbit Hole, because we had interviews with people on the movie What the Bleep Do We Know, and we had a niche market 7 years ago. People mostly associated with the Ramtha School of Enlightenment. So you had to believe in a 35,000-year-old ascended master who was coming back to express himself through the body of a lady that now lives in Yelm, Washington. So that's like pretty niche market. So that explains why I didn't think that I would be getting calls from other people. So let's go back to the punking.
I know you.
Why are you calling?
It's like a call at home.
So then he calls back.
You need to meditate.
When Jenna, she said call back when Jenna is there.
You need to meditate. You need to understand selfless service. or you will not survive.
Right, right. Jenna, but we have a call right now. Let's see. Caller, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Do you have any question for Jennifer?
Yeah, this is Rusty again. I want to know if Jebediah ever shit blood over there in India like I did.
Dear, I think you're just shitting me, so I'll have to say goodbye. It takes all kinds, Jennifer. I think when you raise the positivity, the negativity comes up.
Well, you know, for callers like that, what they need is a nice big breast to stick in their mouth.
It's a legitimate question.
It takes everything, doesn't it?
They need some nurturing from Mother Nature.
Yeah.
I like Geneva. Like,
Jennifer's angry now.
yeah, I'm really fascinated by this show.
Richard, is a legitimate question. If you're in India, you might shit blood.
Right.
We were employed by Fitness Magazine.
Anyway, now here we are back again with me, and that's my brother doing the wheatgrass thing. So I'm sort of gearing myself up to figure out what's going on with this raw milk. Do you realize that it's more difficult to get a hold of milk that's unadulterated than it is to get a hold of drugs? Now, in California, they don't have a law against raw milk. Even the word raw milk is sort of like the word conspiracy. It has a lot of charge to it. It's just milk in its natural state. You wouldn't think about boiling your orange juice, you know, to improve it, to get out the bacteria. And yet, in this time when we have refrigeration and we know about making things nice and clean and, you know, boiling all the containers, we still make it illegal in New York to get a hold of raw milk. And you should see the organic milk. They throw bleach into it. Now think about where your health is going, you know, when that's happening. So I think, though, that my brother George is very beholden to this living foods diet. And they also, when I was reading one of their magazines, go into the horror of raw milk. So I think one thing I really liked about Ramtha, he was talking about vegetarianism as sometimes making people a little bit wimpy. They're not getting the proper nutrition and nourishment that they might need for their level of awareness. Now, I'm totally acknowledging that people can become breatharians. You don't need any food at all, but you have to be aware of where you're vibrating. So that's something important, because there is a dependency that we have. All of nature is interwoven. And this gets into the whole realm of the Divine Mother and the balancing of the elements. Although it's good to learn how to eat in a more simple way, and fasting is very good, it shouldn't become really an end in itself. And to have really good and robust health, you need to be in balance with the entire environment. So right now you're having people presenting with at the World Trade Center, people who were breathing in a lot of toxins, and there's a concern about how to heal them. And I think a lot of the healing that needs to be done is the heartbreak, because these first responders, first of all, were not told how toxic the air was, and then after the fact, they weren't given enough medical attention. But our paradigm of medicine is extraordinarily limited. So, you know, when it comes to healing them, sometimes the method just isn't there. And there's a reason for that too, because there does seem to be a medical agenda. So again, I'm going to keep on this thing about the good diet, and I'm eager to hear from any of you out there at rabbitholecentral.tv. I'm going to try to make myself available at 12 noon in Manhattan, Monday through Friday, so we can go into this. So now I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. Let me see, it seems as though I wanted to say something a little bit more about diet. I certainly don't promote cruelty to animals, but this realm of sacrifice is not understood. I remember when I was in India, Eid is a Muslim holiday, and it recognizes the sacrifice of Abraham. And at that time, there's about 3 days where goats are sacrificed. And I think the first day, the goats are the most expensive, and then the second day, they go down in price, because the best moment to make this connection is on the first of 3 days. And so the Muslims and the Jews both recognize Abraham as the great patriarch. And this area of sacrifice is the Divine Mother. It means to get something, you have to give something. And I don't have enough time on this show to go into the topic. I also wanted to bring up a very deep letter that I got sent to me, perhaps even by some of the Howard Stern people. So that made me pay more attention, that there was a lot more depth here than met the eye. And it was talking about the creepiness of Gramercy Park and how there have been some very ugly killings that have gone on behind those brownstones. And certainly in areas of corruption, in societies that are corrupt, you can have powerful people who can get away with things that others can't. And so thou shalt not kill is one of the, the laws that Moses gave. And when people choose to break them, and if they're not, if others aren't powerful enough to bring them to justice or to stop them, and I'm not talking about punishment. Again, punishment never works. You want to find out what needs aren't being met so that you can correct it. But those areas of sacrifice are not understood. The Divine Mother's not understood. And as a result, we really don't understand how Jesus did the miracles. And I heard the other day Deepak Chopra, who got to participate in precipitated art seance. He thought it was a bunch of baloney and fake. And, you can do that. You can say, all this isn't true, close your heart, cut out, and that's that. Or you can pay attention. And so when this young master said that I needed to learn about the Divine Mother, I paid attention because I knew the things I was trying to do with my charity weren't working. And I had to learn how to sacrifice more, I guess you'd say. But you can only sacrifice what you have. So if you connect up with powerful masters, they can, with skill, allow you to suck in more energy, and with more energy, then you have more in your account. And then with skill, you go about using that energy. So again, I'm going to, in a future show, get a hold of private parts, because after my sister showed me, told me about Howard Stern in some of these earlier interviews, I got very interested, and I thought I better pay more attention, because I had definitely been judging that show as something that was distracting people from worthwhile and important things. So as I learn more, I will definitely pass it on. So again, getting back to the diet, as you become more balanced, you can live on less and less. So you can actually pull in energy through the sun. And that's why I'm always telling people to seek balance when they go around Manhattan or wherever they happen to be. And if too much knowledge is coming in and they're all getting depressed and bummed out and paranoid, they're thinking the CIA is watching or whatever. Oh, by the way, here's my father, who now is almost walking without a cane. And although he, and my family dreads to even think that the bone cancer was caused by the medicine he was taking, that's my position. So there he is. He's sitting down. He's had 6 pins put in his back. But, I was just like super delighted to go back. This was, I think, in March or May. And there he is, I don't know what all he's trying to tell me. That's my brother on the computer. This was my trip back to California. And what I'm trying to do before time runs out, see if I can fast forward it to my introduction to, let's see, let me stop this here. Oh, what the heck, I'll just let this roll out. That's my sister, and she's the one that was saying to give Howard Stern more appreciation. So let's see here, we were going, that's her bird. We're great animal lovers. Again, any comments you might have to make, Rabbit Hole Central TV at 12 noon in Manhattan. So you can sort of calculate that around the world, because I post a lot of these on YouTube. She got that. My sister's a wardrobe consultant, so she gives seminars in her house. Let's see. That's my niece, my brother. Oh yeah, we were at the museum, the DeYoung Museum in San Francisco. I'm trying to get this part at the end. It's my mom, my other brother. Oh yeah, now this totally fascinated me. Being a Berkeley liberal, this is my sister's boyfriend's got a big RV, and we went over to Pacifica to park it over the ocean. And this was the first time I got to, well, let's see if we can get this here. I got to listen to Howard Stern. Let's see if I can, there we are. Oh, I finally made it. So, this is the first time I heard it. Let's see what's here. It's sort of nasty, isn't it? This is over the Pacific Ocean. I don't know if I'm going to show the view here.
I guess so. I'm not sure, but yeah.
It's called Howard News.
I don't know.
Isn't that beautiful? The ocean? What an initiation, huh? This channel just says Howard. The other one said Stern on it.
Yeah, well, you can't get in without a room key by the elevator.
Well, let's go to the next one.
That's reggae. Oh, there's Howard. Oh, that's 100.
If not, find out more.
So people...
101 is...
Maybe that says Stern. Oh yeah, see, 101 says Howard Stern. So anyway, I hope to go into more provocative topics in the future. This is Paula Gloria, and this show is called Farther Down the Rabbit Hole, and we have many more topics to go over. You can contact me at Rabbit Hole Central at rabbitholecentral.tv, or you can email me rabbitholecentral@earthlink.net.